Hi, I'm Alexa, and today I'm going to teach you all about growing garlic. Now behind me is my beautiful patch of garlic, which I planted on Halloween of 2021. And now we're in mid-June here in Northeast Ohio, and today I'm going to be harvesting my garlic scapes. And if you have never heard of what a garlic scape is, I would love to show you. So this fun curly thing is a garlic scape. This has grown out from the center of my garlic plants. And what this actually is, if you can see this kind of bulb starting here, if I didn't cut this and let this just naturally do what a garlic plant wants to do, this part right here would actually turn into a flower. And if you've ever seen an onion flower, it will look kind of similar to that. Really poofy. And if we let that go into a flower, that flower would actually produce seeds that you could use in the future to start more garlic. A garlic started from seed does take several years to grow into something that would resemble a head of garlic that you would buy at your grocery store. So back to the garlic scape and why is it cut and why is it important? If I let this grow on my plants here without cutting it off, like I said, this would make a flower, and that takes energy from a plant. See, to create a flower, it's basically trying to create seed and new life. So if I let this grow, all of my plant energy is going to go into making a flower, making new life for itself. For me, it's important for me to get really nice round heads of garlic. And by cutting these off, it's then forcing my garlic plant to instead try and make a flower. It's going to put all its energy back into the root or the head of the garlic that's growing underground. It's going to keep making those really nice big cloves that we all love and adore and want to enjoy for dinner. So now we know what a garlic scape is. Let's take a look at how they actually look when they're growing out of the plant here. So here is one of my garlic plants. And down here under the soil is where I have a nice head of garlic growing. And I can actually gently dig away here. And we see a really beautiful head of garlic starting here. You can kind of see how big it is. Now it's pretty small still. You know, compared to my fingers here, this head of garlic is not very big. But it will get bigger over the next month because I'm gonna cut that flower bulb off, or the garlic scape. I'm gonna put that back. So from the base of the plant here, we're gonna go up the center stalk. And there are some leaves coming off the sides. And up the center here is where the garlic scape begins to form. And what this is trying to do is send up this center stalk, which is typical. Most plants do send up a center stalk when they're trying to make flowers. Any type of root crop will send up a center stalk that would make a flower. And in this case, this is what it looks like out of a garlic. And harvesting these are really easy. All you do is go down to the middle here, the base, and take your knife or your fingers and just snap it off. Just like that. And the really nice thing about garlic scapes is that they taste just like garlic. They're crunchy, they're kind of sweet. They're a little bit spicy on the aftertaste, but overall they're really good. So however you would like to use garlic in your meals, you can use your garlic scapes to eat them. So the great thing about growing garlic is you basically get 2 crops for one plant in your growing season. Now, another thing I like to do with these, since I do have so many of them, is I like to dehydrate them and turn them into a powder. I made a garlic scape powder, just like garlic powder, and it has lasted me the entire year. So I made that powder probably in July of 2021, and my bottle is just about empty. So I'm really glad that these have come in because now I can make more powder and have my own garlic scape powder for the rest of the year. Another idea with garlic scapes is to pickle them. So just like you could pickle cucumbers or pickle other kinds of vegetables, you can actually cut these up and pickle them as well. And I think I'm gonna try to do some pickling of my garlic scapes as well this year, just to see what that tastes like. I'm really curious on how that would go. I really love growing versatile plants that can serve multi-purposes. So not only is garlic great medicinally, but it's good to flavor just about anything. If you're not putting garlic on your food, I strongly encourage you to rethink your choices and to put garlic on everything, because it's just so good. Harvesting the garlic scapes is really simple, and you can do it with a tool, you can do it with your hand, but however you choose, you just want to make sure that you cut them back before a flower starts to form, so that way you have beautiful big garlic in the ground and not a big poofy flower on top, because that's not going to feed you like your delicious garlic will. And so typically the garlic scapes are going to appear about a month before you're going to actually harvest your garlic bulbs. So for me, right now it's mid-June, and I'm going to be harvesting this garlic probably around July 4th or maybe a week or two after. It's just going to depend on the weather. And what I'm going to watch for in my garlic here is making sure that at least the bottom 4 leaves coming off of the stalk of the plant have been brown and dried out, because that's going to signal to me that the plant is actually starting to die back. And when the plant is starting to die back, that is when you're going to be ready to harvest your garlic. So let me show you what these plants look like right now. So this one here is still pretty green. I did cut the scape off this one already. So the very bottom leaf here is starting to brown, but the second, third, and fourth leaf are still very green. So this tells me this plant is not ready for harvest yet. I do want to add, I am growing hard neck varieties of garlic. I do not have experience growing the soft necked varieties at this time. I do live in Northeast Ohio, so I have a northern climate. This is actually zone 6A. And for my growing area, hard neck garlic is the recommended type to grow. So that's what I grow. And now I know there are some differences in the growing patterns and growing length and time of year for soft neck garlic. So if you're growing, some of those are usually more suited for warmer climates, some of the more southern states and warmer zones. I would say check out and just confirm on growing patterns for those elsewhere. I am talking about hardneck garlic. Now this one is a little bit further, so the bottom leaf here is really dried out, breaking. The next one up is not, I think. Oh, there's actually 2 here close together, but very green still on this one. Very green. Most of these are very green still. And that makes sense because it's not time to harvest yet. The garlic scapes just appeared. So after I cut those back, I mean, again, that's kind of setting a signal to the plant that it's not going to be able to reproduce. So energy is going back into the bulb, and then there's really no reason for the plant to keep sustaining life and growing. So those leaves are going to start to die back. So probably in a couple weeks, we will start to see more browning on all of those lower leaves, and we will get much closer to garlic harvesting. So for this next part, I am going to put it on a time lapse and go ahead and get the rest of this cleared out before it gets dark. So I got all my garlic scapes picked. That was pretty easy. That only took me about 20 minutes to get through this entire bed, and if I remember clearly, I had 300 garlic plants that I put in on Halloween last year. And I just measured this space with an iPhone app, and it is a 10 across by 17 long space, so 10 by 17, and I've got 300 plants growing in there. So I have a lot of work to do. Very happy with this harvest, and I'm gonna take it in and then I'll show you what I make out of my preservation. So it's been 2.5 weeks since the first part of this video, and I'm gonna show you how I preserved all of those garlic scapes. So first, I made a dehydrated garlic scape powder. And so that filled up these 2 jars right here. So I have quite a bit of powder for that, and it was really easy. This is my dehydrator, and I had it on the highest temperature for probably like 24 to 36 hours. The scapes did take a long time to dry. There is quite a bit of water content in the garlic scapes, so it did take some time for those to dry out. Does make a really nice powder. Harvest some garlic yesterday. These are some garlics that are very dry. They're much smaller than most of my garlic bulbs, so they were ready to come out, and you can see just how dry these get. Lots of browning when they're ready. I did some canning with the scapes, so I can the garlic scapes with, it'll be more like a pickled scape, but it has garlic and mustard seeds in here. So I've got 6 jars. And I haven't opened these yet, so I don't know how they taste. I did a fermented scape batch as well. So I started this on 6/25. It is July 7th. Let's try it. Let's see what it tastes like. So this was a 2-week ferment. And at this point, I'm gonna keep it in the refrigerator because I think it's probably fermented enough now. This is a fermentation weight to keep everything under the brine. And the cloudy stuff, it's fine. That's normal. That can just be scraped off, but it smells really good. It smells really garlicky. Love garlic. So we'll just try it. It's good. Tastes pickly. Pickly and garlicky. And it's crunchy. Definitely a good pickled flavor. But this was fermented, so there's a lot of really good probiotic, lactobacillus, I think I'm saying that right, bacteria, which is really good for promoting gut health. The fermented scapes are good. I could probably leave these out longer if I wanted the flavor to become like stronger, but this is good. I'm gonna put it in my refrigerator now. And lastly, I made some refrigerator pickled garlic scapes. So these were scapes that I went through the pickling process with the brine, and I added some garlic and mustard seeds to these. And these have been in my refrigerator for 2 weeks, and I haven't had any yet, so I will try this. I have this big jar and this big jar. Both are old pickle jars, so reuse glass jars. This is much more firm. That's interesting. The refrigerator pickled scapes do have a very distinct flavor from the fermented ones. The fermented ones, those just get a salt brine, so it's just water and salt mixed together, poured over the scapes, and then left to sit for 2 weeks so that all of that lactobacteria can grow and do its thing. The refrigerated garlic scapes had a vinegar brine. I think I used white vinegar. White vinegar with some salt. Anyways, I made a brine, poured it over the top, and then let it sit. This one's hard. But yeah, each have their own distinct flavor. Definitely feel, get more of that acidity with the vinegar taste on the refrigerator scape pickles. But these are also really good. So the canned garlic scapes the pickled ones, and the fermented recipes I all got out of this book, Can It and Ferment It by Stephanie Thorough. I've had this book for a few years, and I'm trying to go to this more for my recipes rather than just doing a Google search every time, because that's usually what I do, is like a Google search, but I'm trying to use books because I've got lots of recipe books and canning and preservation books, and I don't always use them because I'm so used to using the internet to find recipes, which is fine, but I have these wonderful books, so I'm trying to use them more. And that actually came in handy because that was the only one of all my recipe books about canning and preservation that I could find anything about garlic scapes, so that's what this book is. Pages 64 and 67 are on the garlic scapes. So that wraps up this video on garlic scapes, what they are, how to pick them, and what you can do with them. So if you have tried garlic scapes, please leave a comment below. Let me know about it. What are some of your favorite recipes? Would love to hear from you. And stay tuned for more. I'm going to be harvesting my garlic very soon. It is getting very dried out. As I talked about earlier in this video, when at least the 4 bottom leaves of your garlic plants are dried out and crispy, that's usually a good indication of when you're ready to harvest. I have been checking on my garlic and digging away the soil to see the size. They're bulbing up nicely. I may give them about like 1 more week, keeping an eye on it. I want to see a lot of that greenery die back before I pick them. I will make sure to record that, and I'll get a video out there of the garlic harvest and see what we're gonna do with all of our garlic. Thank you so much for watching, and do something you love today. Talk to y'all next time. Bye.